Good afternoon, everybody. Can I get a quick audio visual check? Thank you, Earl. Fantastic. Kind of low volume. What if I move closer to the microphone? I'm off site here today, so I'm working with suboptimal equipment, but I will use my booming broadcaster voice to compensate. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Earl. It's great to see you. Hope you had a good visit with the family. No, nothing with a wing, nothing that flies or floats. Well, you know exactly where I am right now. So I've been here enough times where you know where I am. Trying to minimize this a little bit there. If you are here today, first of all, welcome. Exactly. And out of about 12 days, I've had 2 actual non-working days. If you are here today and you are not a customer, if you are not an existing customer, so San, for example, Barbara, who else is here today? Dennis, welcome. Wilfredo, welcome. If you are not a customer, could you let me know what market are you trading and what size bar are you analyzing? So for example, if you are trading the E-mini S&P with a 5-minute candle, if you're trading the NASDAQ with a 1-minute or maybe a 10 range bar, if you're trading Apple or Spider on a end of day chart. Hey Vic, which market on the 1-minute time frame are you trading? Oil, options, SPY, and Q. Perfect. Thank you for that. So we'll make a little note here, SPY, QQQ. Is VIC short for Victor? Yes, NASDAQ. It's good to see you, Vic. Thanks for coming by. And hey, Yusuf. Same for you as well. Wilfredo, any market you want us to pay attention to while we're here? I wouldn't know. Vyacheslav? Vyacheslav? Did I come close? I feel like I'm close. And that's a pretty awesome name. I love your name. Vyacheslav. We'll go with Vic for now. All right, so we have 1 minute SPY. We'll make a little note here. And then Yusuf wants us to check out the ES and the NQ. I'm happy to do that. And we'll take a look at some other stuff here. If you're inspired to mention later on, like Wilfredo, what market are you trading? I'm actually very happy to look at those with you. I'll be pretty much finished in an hour, but thank you. So Vic, watch how good I do this. Deandra, thank you for rescheduling. I appreciate you being here today as well. Dennis, good to see you as well. In a nutshell, everything I do and the software we've developed for you over the last 13 years is based upon our belief that markets are not fair and that banks are pushing and pulling markets up and down and effectively cheating while the rest of us try to hack away with the best tools we can find, which 90+% of the time are garbage, are regurgitated versions of old tools that everyone has, presented by a highly polished marketing machine. And so while we believe banks cheat, we also believe other vendors and educators in this space are not so honest as well. And so today what we've attempted to do is, as engineers, both myself and my partner in the company, trained and degreed engineers, we seek the truth in the data and allow the data to speak for itself. And we accomplish that through predictive data mining, our powerful data engine, which drives the indicator we refer to as TachEon Warp, is over 12,000 lines of code in scope and size. And using that tool, we've been able to project what these markets you trade are likely to do minutes, hours, days, and weeks into the future. And we accomplish this by looking at data which to normal eyes appears random and chaotic and messy. But our software and our belief is based on the premise that there are patterns inside of the data. A huge, vast network of open and closes over the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 days of movements. And what we began to understand is that charts that appeared to have no significant patterns in them whatsoever began to reveal times where banks are pushing prices higher or lower. If you're like us, you believe that these large investment institutions use things like the news and the events of our time to benefit themselves. Jim, your screen is frozen, I believe. You guys should see my chart that has a bunch of stars on it right now. Can everyone see the chart on there with a bunch of ones and zeros and some stars? No stars. Ah! It still shows the disclaimer. How about that? I am so sorry. Woohoo! It wasn't you. Jim, I want you to always assume it's me. My big brain gets ahead of me sometimes. So when we look at a chart, we don't see any kind of patterns, but the software analyzes thousands of historical bars to find patterns in the data that support our idea, our belief that banks are cheating. And so we all know that oil companies, for example, have access to vast reserves of crude. And they've been publicly quoted as saying, we're not interested in pumping any more oil above ground. We're content maximizing shareholder value right now. But that's just one example of an industry, a conglomerate, a very small select group of wealthy, powerful people rigging the system to make as much money as they can. We can extend that example to politicians. We can extend it to governments and corporations, even the billionaire club so popularly covered in modern news today. The big three, right? Bezos, Musk, Gates, all of them have an agenda and are quietly amassing their own empires, doing things that you and I would never get away with in the real world. And so today is about the result of that experiment. On Tuesday, we sent out an email with forecasts generated by the code emanating from TachEon Warp. We had forecasts, behavioral maps in time for popular markets like the S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, oil, gold, Ethereum, Bitcoin, the DAX, a slew of markets popularly traded by customers like you. All of Wednesday passed and all of Thursday have passed. And now we have an opportunity to go back and to see what actually transpired at those times. So, pursuant to my example earlier of oil conglomerates manipulating markets and making them do what they want when they want, Vic, I want to show you an example of what was provided as opposed to what actually took place in the market that we're focusing on. In this case, oil futures on a 3-minute chart. My family and friends are constantly discussing what is happening in the markets in relation to oil. And it's no shock that I have a particular opinion about what's going on. And before we go too deep down the rabbit hole, I wanted to show you something. Yusuf, on Tuesday night, I provided times to traders in advance, telling them when to look for movements up and down in the markets, especially oil, because it's heavily manipulated. And I want you to see really quick, these are the times that I provided on Tuesday night to about 18,000 people on our mailing list. And Yusuf, can you see where it says 6:15 here and 6:15 here? Where it says 5:33 Eastern time here and then 5:33 here. Are you guys seeing where I'm drawing on my screen? Okay, beautiful. Thank you for that feedback. Vic, these are all the times that the software warned us that these guys were going to try to basically rig the game one more time. And I wanted you to see this is what was provided on Tuesday, and this is what's actually taking place on Thursday. So let's fade back and take a look at what actually happened at these times. And I'm hoping you'll see that there are some shenanigans occurring in the markets that we're watching. And this will be one of several examples. So starting with the pre-European market, at 348, we were expecting an up move. At 442, we were expecting a down move. At 533, Yusuf, we were expecting an up move. At 6 o'clock, price action went sideways and did not continue any higher until the expected time at 6:15. The market was expected to push prices higher until 7:15. And then once again, we see a small retracement and consolidation coming into the next time, which was 751. We then had our econ this morning at 836 and saw prices depressed for the next half an hour. They rose for a few minutes until 9:18. And then Vic, do you notice what happened between 9:18 and 10:12 this morning in oil futures? Can anyone else see what happened between 9:18 and 10:12 this morning in oil futures? It seems to me, and again, I'm not anything other than a guy just like you. I identify as a guy who kind of knows what the game is. And somebody had their fingers on the scale at 9:18. And that ends up being this double top stop run, which drops all the way until when? 10:12. 10:12 was the time where we were expecting banks to come back and push prices higher. Until when? Until 11 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock, we were expecting prices to drop briefly for 10 bars into 1130, push up into 1134, 1154, and down until 1221. So Vic, there appears to be coordinated efforts most of the active Euro and US session to drive prices higher and lower at certain times of the session. Would you guys agree that most of the time we were able to sort of uncover when the banks were likely to do it again? That's just an example of one day. As we go back into yesterday, Vic, I want you to see what happened at the times we published for Tuesday. Can you see those here, guys? Again, so you know that we're not doing anything underhanded or dirty or secretive or dishonest. These are the times we had for Wednesday, emailed to 18,000 people on Tuesday. No shenanigans. And Vic, when I come here and I look after the fact at what was expected, I see again, somebody had their fingers in the cookie jar. Not all of the time, right? Some of the times it didn't work. But the biggest moves of the session, seemingly occurred at the times the program warned all of us that someone in an office somewhere, somebody with computers more powerful than ours, somebody somewhere was trying to sucker us into a trade. And what I've learned over the last 13 years of teaching this to people like you is that most traders are in the wrong direction at each one of these times. Everywhere you see a buying time is somewhere where 90% of people are selling. Everywhere you see a selling time is someplace an algorithm built by the best programmers in the world is luring all of the traders in to a buy. They use stop runs, they use volume, they use broken structure to lure people into trades that are almost always going in the opposite direction. How many of you can confess honestly before you have the software, especially if you're a customer, confess there was a day where you said, I'm going to do the opposite of everything I want to do today? How many of you? Be honest. I did. I'm wrong so often that I'm going to do the exact opposite of what my indicators or my gut is telling me. That's how bad this is. That's how bad this is. So Vic, did that make sense so far? We gave the times out in advance. Yusuf, we came back 2 days later. We looked across 2 sessions worth of signals, and we see that people are pushing prices higher and lower. Now, here's the really cool part. Vic, the times are always populating in the future. The times are always populating in the future. So I have the next times for tomorrow, for Monday, for Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. I have all of the times, and you can have all of the times with equal accuracy for the next week. None of those times will update, change, disappear, or reappear. They'll be constant. They'll be the same. Whatever the signal was, it was. Okay. Now, we were asked to look at SPY and QQQ on a 1-minute chart. So Vic, is it okay? I'd like to build a chart for you from scratch, showing you how I would build your chart for you. Is that okay? Yeah, thank you. SPY. We'll look at a 1-minute time frame. I'm going to load my default chart template on a 1-minute time frame. Okay. Now, Vic, can you see this chart, how it's in 2 halves? Number 1, I have the dotted white line, which tells me where I am in time right now. Tells me where I am in time right now. Everything to the right of the white line is a future signal that will never change, disappear, or repaint. It is what it is forever. And then to the left is what we were expecting at the times we were waiting for. Does that make sense? So everywhere you see these signals are times where we were waiting for something in the past. And so as we kind of come back and look at this morning, we'll stretch it out. 9:41, 9:54, 10:12, 10:26, 10:55, 11:03, 11:09, 11:14, 11:25, and so on. Over to the left, we have the times from yesterday. And Vic, you can see there's the signal. The earliest one is 9:53, followed by the rest of those signals. Okay. That is correct. Ninjatrader is the only platform at the moment powerful enough to run these signals. However, Vic, there are alternate ways to use the software using Ninjatrader, and I'll just take a moment to tell you. And one of these may be an option for you. Ninjatrader has an API that allows it to connect data to the following platforms. It'll connect to Interactive Brokers. It'll connect to TD Ameritrade. It'll connect to E-Trade. It also allows you to connect to third-party data providers, including but not limited to Kinetic, Rhythmic, barchart.com is another one. So there are multiple ways to use NinjaTrader as a charting platform to get the times without having to have an account for it. Okay, so you're not out of luck. And I believe Kinetic at last look is somewhere around $75 a month to get up to 500 real-time data symbols. So essentially 3 E-mini S&P points of profit per month. And I think we can show here effectively at least that on the chart. So Vic, I can easily decode SPY and QQQ to get you on the right side of the trade preemptively, under the belief that the market is rigged. Under the belief that the market is rigged. Right? And as we go back in time, we can see more and more examples of what's taking place at those times. And it's really, on a 1-minute chart, quite obvious most of these times that somebody had a computer program ready to go to push prices even higher or lower at these other times. No, NT is they are a monster. They're an absolute monster. They are futures, they are forex, and they have data feeds for stocks and options and all sorts of other things, including crypto, believe it or not, including crypto. Here we go. So I like this setting better for SPY, if I'm being honest. If you're using NinjaTrader at home with the software, one of the things existing customers, any market that's related to the ES or the SPY, instead of using the default values for the settings, existing customers, please examine using a 9-day look back instead of a 714, because you'll get much better, more accurate results when you do. So here I'm looking at a 9-day look back with a swing strength of 8. And those of you that have the software, you know what that means. So those are the signals that I would use, Vic, on your chart for those signals. And now we see, as we go back in time, we're getting much more accurate signals when we do that. What does that mean? What do those numbers mean? It's actually pretty cool. When the software goes back and looks for patterns, we send it to different places. And we found that different markets hide their secret in different places. So if you imagine this as a calendar, I'll tell you what those numbers meant, Bert. It's actually pretty cool. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Today is Thursday. And when we reference a 714, Vic, we're telling the software to go back 7 days and 14 days ago. So 2 weeks worth of Thursdays. And as soon as last Thursday's market was closed, the software then takes that data and it runs an analysis on the times that the market was driven up and driven down. So when the software references a 714, we're sending it back 2 weeks worth of Thursday data sets. Does that make sense, Vic? A 714 is looking at a specific weekdays worth of time patterns. Now that works really well across a broad range of markets on most time frames. But when we start talking about time analysis, we're now getting in the heads of men like W.D. Gann, who in the 1920s popularized the theory of time cycle analysis. And one of the men that Gann grew up with, a contemporary that many of you know, was Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla was a proponent of vibrational law. Both Gann and Tesla believed that the keys to the universe lay in the understanding and the study of vibrational law. This idea that cycles occur in all areas of science as well as human behavior. And so if you're an existing customer, here's a fun fact. Tesla 369 quote, one of the things that Tesla was infamous for involved his feelings regarding the number 3, 6, and 9. And so a really fascinating thing, Vic, starts to happen when we tell the software to look at different places. So now come with me, for example, back to our original chart. And now we send the software 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days back. And Vic, it's exactly like Fibonacci. It's all tied together. Great observation. But Vic, every signal on my chart right now that you're seeing behind me is based on a 9-day vibration. You'll see here 9000. And so if you're a customer at home or you're a new customer coming on board, the most accurate settings I've found for 90% of the markets include the 714 default, which works really well, the 9-day vibrational cycle, forgive me, a 3-day vibrational cycle, a recent analysis going back the last 3 days, and then what I call the hybrid, the 3690. One of those 5 values, one of those 5 combinations will bring any market I've come across in 13 years into focus, And so Vic, you can see the difference from our earlier example to today. By changing those values, we're catching absolute swing highs and lows with a 9-day look back. And so when you get the software, we're happy to share that information with you during your training. And as we go farther and farther and farther back, we see that those settings continue to be as accurate as they were in the previous iterations of the program. The other thing to take note of is if you want to see larger moves, you tell the software that you want to see a larger swing strength. And now we have larger movements, Vic, at those signal times. So you don't have to scalp. You do, however, have to tell the software what size of a move you want to study. And so if you're looking for trades that last 15 minutes or more, you can't use a small swing strength. You're going to have to use a larger swing strength when you do that. Any questions about SPY on a 1-minute time frame with a 900 look back? There is absolutely training after buying the software, Yusuf. I'll cover that in a moment, but anyone who purchases today, normally we have trainers on our staff who are existing customers that are working with the tools and doing well. But anyone who purchases today, I'm coming down off the mountain. Zeus is going to leave Olympus and train everyone that signs up today one-on-one personally. So I'm going to actually work with people and get them get them set up with the right settings. There's also installation as well included with that. One thing I want to show you, Yusuf, is that it's not just intraday stuff that we can look at. This, for example, is a daily chart showing popular markets traded in the equities region. Currently with Apple, for example, we're looking at a zone of buying pressure until July 13th. And so this entire area right here, I believe, are institutions stopping people out at the lows and buying again and loading up for the next run back up above the moving average. So Apple, we're in a buying phase, a consolidation right now, and we'll, if we see a drop, watch for it to occur on July 13th. Looking from left to right here as we analyze, we'll see that NVIDIA, the supplier of GPUs to the crypto trading community, has seen a very large decline in its stock price now as countries like China crack down on blockchain. And right now it's interesting, we'll see June 15th to June 27th. Yusuf, you see how prices haven't gone lower? Prices haven't gone lower over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost a week's worth of signals. And so what that tells me, Yusuf, is that there's probably an up move coming on June 27th. The fact that prices haven't dropped below 153 indicates that people are loading up for a push. So I expect to see banks trip out the stops below this consolidation area days before June 27th, and then another push up into July 18th. Working our way from left to right, Bank of America is also in a consolidation area, a buying phase until July 5th. And we can see here that the movements at the buying pressure times have either been violent reversals back up into the next signal, or they've just been slow movements into the next selling pressure signal. So right here we see that from April 27th until May 13th, prices really didn't go up very much. They came up, but they also came back down, and they finished right where they started. The same thing that happened over here on April 4th, and now we're seeing that same pattern playing out in Bank of America up until July 5th. So if we continue to stay inside this range of retracement and we don't go much higher than it by the next signal time, we'll probably see another dramatic drop in the Bank of America stock price on July 5th. Coming around the horn, we'll see here Tesla, my favorite market manipulator of all time. The Tesla behavioral time map shows us in a selling period between June 21st and July 11th. June 21st and July 11th. And we see the very beginning phases of that, including VIC, these little wicks right here that are driving prices down as people are trying to come up. So we're seeing selling pressure now come in on June 21st, and I expect that to last until July 11th. A lot of people concerned, Musk laying off 10% of his workforce. He said Gigafactory Berlin was a money furnace. They were blowing through cash, supply chain issues. This is the window to look for puts if you're an options trader definitely not a time to purchase Tesla. We'd be looking for opportunities on July 11th. Then we have AMD, popular Silicon Valley chip manufacturer. It has now just put in the very first phases of its reversal. But I want you to notice here that they're tripping out the stops right before the June 27th push up. And so we only have a couple more days for this selling pressure window to last. And right now, Yusuf, it hasn't gone very far. It's in a very narrow range, which means institutions aren't driving prices lower the way they were on April 6th or May 4th, as well as March 1st and January 21st. None of those movements are occurring now when they're supposed to, which leads me to believe looking for calls in the options space on June 27th in that area is another low risk opportunity. We work our way around the horn and we see Twitter, which has been in the news of late, is actually in a buying window right now. So calls, I think, are a little risky only because we haven't broken through the prior swing here to trip out stops. So if it were me, I would be waiting for a 2 or 3 bar reversal, tripping out the stops just below this area at 35.30 before I looked for a long or a close back above the moving average. That whole debacle right now. The safer bet is probably waiting for July 12th for the next put opportunity. Ford, love their Bronco, love the Bronco Raptor, the F-150 Lightning. However, we are still in a bearish phase of their market manipulation window. As we come into the next phase on June 28th, we see that they have already tripped out the stops of the prior swing low. So if we're still in this area coming June 28th and or retest or puncture this low down at the $10 area, I think there's a great opportunity to watch companies like Goldman Sachs and Berkshire and all these other jerks at JP Morgan to drive the price of Ford higher. The last time we were here, we saw a move up of approximately $1.50. Similarly, back on April 18th, $1.33. If we're still in these lows, we could see it come up again, back up into the $12.50, $13 range. It's so much easier when you can be predictive and proactive. Alibaba, back on the move. On the positive side of things, we've been in these webinars warning everyone here about the put opportunities at the blue lines, warning them look for puts and options to drive the price even lower. And now something interesting has really taken place. Earl, do you notice on my chart where it broke through the stop line on June 1st? It started to dink and diggle around here, but then erupted up out of that consolidation. When you see a stop line broken like this, it is usually indicative of a trend reversal. Before the moving average ever changes or turns, I predict us to now come back above this blue line at 117 area. The trend is always your friend, but it lags. And so in this case, when we see white lines violated, the trend is still down. When we see blue stop lines violated, it means the institutions have removed their support for the downtrend. They are no longer enforcing those dates, and they're allowing prices to rise again. So safe bet, we're going to come up above 117.5, and then again on July 1st, see even more volatility potentially to the upside. So as we work our way around these charts, we see that there are opportunities for looking forward into the future and analyzing what could potentially come next. Other of you have been asking questions about the mini Dow, and you can see today the times where we were waiting for things to happen over the course of the Euro and the US session. Again, when we're trading in the direction of the trend, we see opportunities like the signal at 9:39, the signal at 10:15 until 10:33, the signal at 11 o'clock, which went sideways for a half an hour. You had a chance to get out, break even. And then the signal at 11:45 down until 12:15, 1:18 until 1:45. So we are strong proponents of trading in the direction of the trend, Vic. That would always be my advice to you, especially with the more accurate settings. Yusuf, what market did you say you were interested in? I think you said ES and NQ, if I remember right. ES and NQ, correct? Okay, cool. So today on the NQ, when I started the webinar, I was up $1,000 on my 5-minute NQ chart. And Yusuf, I had gone long right here. And if you go back and watch the video, if you want to see the recording, I had looked for an opportunity to go long in the NQ today at the predicted time. That should show up right there. Yep. In and then out. So I was excited about that long and basically sold the high before it reversed and went the other direction. Let me turn this off again. Does not flat. Okay, beautiful. So the NQ today, pretty awesome throughout the Euro and the US session. And again, I'm just looking to see what did the software warn me about and what actually took place. And when it doesn't work, I put an X. When it doesn't work, I put an X right here before the report. The econ is released. We do end up going lower, higher at 9:45, sideways, and we finish where we start by 11 o'clock, up until 11:35, down until 12:15, fast retracement up before a retest of the low. Yusuf, what time frame do you trade the NASDAQ? Is there a certain size bar that you watch on the NQ? I find with the NQ, it's most reliably defined by the 1, 2, 3 look back. But I want to make sure the 5, the 3, and the 1. Okay, cool. Well, if you'll indulge me, I just want to show you the difference when I go back and take a look at the different look backs. And you'll be the judge where you can tell me if you see the increase in the accuracy or not. 1, 2, 3. Swing strength 5 for the NQ. That's a little crazy, but the signals are more accurate as a result. Let me redraw that, and we'll pull this down so you can see the signals more. So Yusuf, can you see how the signals are coming in at the pivots better? That's okay, Vic. Can I email you afterwards and see if you're interested in working with us, or do you just want to tell me now that you're not interested? Okay, great. Vic, I'll get in touch with you after. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Yeah. And then again, Yusuf, if the swings are too small, we can dial it in by increasing the size of the swing strength and finding a setting that works well for you. So I can go all the way out until a 15 on the swing strength, and now I see even larger moves. Right? So you're not constrained to smaller moves with the software. You can look as large or as small as you want. I tend to look at a 1 minute time frame on the NQ because I have a very hyper personality. And so for me, I'm looking for fast movements that get me into profit right away. So the way I trade this, Yusuf, you've seen me talk about this in other webinars, right? When the market is moving up and my moving average is climbing higher, these are the opportunities that I embrace to go long. So I would be long in the NQ from here to here, from here to here, little guy, from here to here, from here to here, and then from here to here. So I'm looking for signals in the direction of the trend. And then Yusuf, as you've seen from other webinars, I'm looking for breakouts of the counter trend signals with trend as well. And then I put my stop right below the puncture candle. And up and up and up we go. So the NQ for me is one of my favorite markets. And brother, when you get below that moving average, like right here, and you're waiting for a selling pressure signal, you will get these large runs that just move down. That's a $67 move at 1150, which is an $1,800 per contract signal, right? And those are the moves that I live for. I love them. And then earlier this morning with those same signals, 932 at the open, it closes right below the moving average right there. It's spot on. It says, I dare you to short me. And then we hold it at least until 949. So that's a $600 move at the beginning of the session today. Knowing what these knuckleheads have planned before they do it is the most rewarding and satisfying experience you can have. It's the most rewarding and satisfying experience you can have. If you're trading forex, the euro US dollar, for example, you'll see those same kinds of moves coming up in the future. We're the only company that believes and publicly talks about how banks are manipulating the prices of the markets you trade, and that's why so many people are failing. And so if you want to know the windows of time where there are higher than average probabilities of success waiting for you, this is the only program I'm aware of after 13 years and some 3,500 customers that this can work for you. So Yusuf, on the ES, I like to watch it on the highest time frames. In this case, the daily time frame on the S&P E-mini is warning me that right now this is a reaccumulation phase. I'm in a white zone until June 27th. And people are basically selling into this window right here. They're buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling. And the next drop is coming on June 27th. And Yusuf, if I was following my rules, I would have been looking for shorts from this bar to this bar. I would have taken a short right here and been stopped out on that signal. I would have taken a short here for a small loss on that signal. And then we were short from June 1st until June 9th. And then when it broke through this white line, right now we are up about $97 on that signal. So always in the direction of the trend for me. I found that to be the most secure way to be involved, but to know the times, to look for those signals, for me, has given me the most confidence and the best results. And so as we look out on the higher time frames of the ES, I forgot to shut that trade off before we finished here.
Order filled.
You'll see on the 5-minute chart today, Yusuf, using the times that I sent out, do you notice how most of the signals, brother, went in the direction we were expecting them to? You've got 2 eyeballs. I don't have to go back and fill them in for you. You can see. And so for us and for the customers, we're sad that this is the way the world works, but we're happy that we have the technology to decode these behavior patterns and get those signals out in front of our customers. So whether it's a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart or a 3-minute chart, trading the ES without our times, I think, is a suicidal exercise. But that's neither here nor there. And so it sort of begs me to ask the question, as we kind of wind up here and finish this afternoon, unless anyone has any other markets they want me to analyze. Yusuf, if trading is about the future, then we want to use indicators that are able to predict where prices will be a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes from now. Every other tool is telling you what already happened. Volume is telling you what already happened. Support and resistance levels are there to be broken and lure you into the wrong direction. Order flow can be spoofed, and the appearance of orders that were never there can lure you into a position. And so we're left with this problem of what is trading? And the only way to really know what will happen in the future is to look for the patterns based on time, right? When you know the times in the future, you are relaxed. You're in an alpha state. You've analyzed the risk. You're waiting for other people's stops to get hit. You're waiting for big wick candles. You're waiting for volume spikes. You're literally climbing over the dead bodies of all the other traders who were in on the wrong side. Traders who are using the garbage tools from the dishonest vendors that I mentioned to you earlier. When you're using lagging tools, you sit at the computer all day wondering, will this be the signal? Will this be the signal? Is it going to happen now or now or now? And it creates stress. It creates confusion. It creates all sorts of hormonal changes in your body. Your respiration rate increases, your pupils dilate, your cortisol excretions are off the chart. It's a much different experience over on this side of the line because we acknowledge what's really happening. Our eyes are wide open. JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, on and on and on and on, year after year, worst economic conditions in the world, greatest profits ever reported. The difference between the haves and the have-nots has never been greater. And it's because the inmates are running the asylum. Their buddies at the Fed printed free money for 12, 16 years, 0% interest, half a point of interest.
and they put that money in the stock market, and they put that money in housing, and they bought up all of the real estate. And where I live, young families, men, women who are leaving school, starting jobs for the first time, are walking into an unaffordable conundrum. 30, 40, 50% over normal market value. Interest rates now no longer at 2.5%, 5, 6, predicting the interest rates of our parents and our grandparents, 7, 8, 9, 10%. People have to buy houses 2, 3 at a time together. Who's doing this? Who's doing all this? The people with no regulations, the people with lobbyists in every corner of every democratically elected official in this country, the people whose associates go on to run the Fed Reserve and hand out money to their friends. These are the people that you are trading against every day. And most customers are trading like this. My indicator said you should go up now. My gut tells me it's going higher. My gut tells me it's going lower. And their algorithms, their traders look back at you and laugh because you fell for it again. And the vendors sell you this garbage with the free trials and the $95 thing, and you fall for it again. And pretty soon, like the rest of us, you end up paralyzed in front of your computer, all of your money gone, but for a few $100s, wondering how the hell did I get here? It's a plan. It's a sophisticated, algorithmic, manipulated universe. And the buzzards in this industry will happily pick your bones, free trial after free trial, that somehow ends up costing you tens of thousands of dollars each time. I'm tired of it. Aren't you tired? Who else was tired? Anyway, we want you to be this. This is what our customers do. Our customers trade when the banks trade, or they wait for the times for the signals to appear. They wait for a window of time for volume to do things, for support levels to be checked, for price action to look a certain way, for higher highs and higher lows. They wait. Here comes my time window. Now I'm going to move. Now I'm going to act. Now I'm going to calculate a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 risk ratio. It's a completely different way. And Goldman pushes your order up, pushes your order in the green, because their order's in there too. That's what I want for you. And I love this diagram. I'm going to use it forever. We are engineers building tools for traders who want to make money. We are building tools, sophisticated algorithms for guys like Yusuf and Vic and Alejandro and everyone else here today. We're building these tools that are based on the way the game really works. You're competing with Mercedes, you're competing with Red Bull, you're competing with Ferrari. And most of you are driving the trading equivalent of a Ford Fiesta, a Renault. Cut it out. Stop. What are you doing? Every day you wake up to sit down and trade against these people, you're going up against Goliath. And you've got a stick. You don't even have a rock. You got half a slingshot. We want to be part of your team. But you have to acknowledge what you're facing. It is not your grandfather's or your father's market anymore. There are no rules. You can do anything and get away with it. You can say anything as a CEO and write it on Twitter and make stock prices go up and down hundreds of dollars, billions lost and gained. You can say things about Dogecoin and Bitcoin, and your whole company's value goes up and down 10, 20, 30% because of a tweet, and nothing happens. There are no rules. And the only way to win in a battle like that is to know what your enemy is about to do and to be ready at that time. That's what we believe. And I hope you believe that too. Otherwise, you're in for a world of hurt. If you are interested in moving forward today, Yusuf, I have some good news for you. Number one, I want to give you a link to the program that we're talking about, which is TachEon Warp. And I'm going to put a copy of that link in your GoToWebinar chat box. Tell me when you guys can see that. Earl, can you see that? Melissa, did it pop up? TachEon TimeWarp. Perfect, thank you. When you click on that link, it's going to take you to the bottom of the page. At the very bottom of the page is an orange Buy Now button. If you're the kind of trader who needs to see signals in real time in a live training room environment with the ES or the NQ running, we have a room that meets Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. If you want to participate in that, my partner, we're best friends and we were trading partners when we started. He knows as much or more about the software and how to trade it than I do. He runs the room. You can go to the room without including it. It's 25% off. If you buy it when you start, it's $149 a month. Or you can just say, I don't need it. And that's fine too. You can always come back and add it on later if you want to touch up some things. When we get to this page, you're going to enter promo code WARPOFF. 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 All one word, no spaces, lowercase. WARPOFF. It takes 500 US off. WARP in Cincinnati. In addition to that, you're going to get free installation. It's a white glove service to make sure the software is working correctly on your computer. Now, here's the thing. I never offer it. Today I'm offering it. I'm going to personally set up and train everyone who buys today. I never do that. I'm too busy being a genius up here and doing genius things. If you want me to set up your charts with the most accurate Kumasayama, I'm your Huckleberry today. But today you need to purchase. Okay? In addition to that, you get 2 computer licenses. You get lifetime updates on Warp. No additional fees, no additional charges. If you ever change your computer, no harm, no foul. We'll change it. No big deal. You're going to get lifetime access to our video training archive. Everything you want to know about this tool, from the most basic to the most advanced principles, is stored in our video training archive. You're also getting access to a tool that's been rated 4.8 out of 5.0 by actual customers with Trustpilot. Our customers have gone back and shared their results and reviews, and we've come out on top. We are actually a 13-year-old company, based in the United States of America. There are 3 phone numbers that you can call or text anytime you want. We may be asleep, but you're going to get an answer. We also have Skype groups for our users, with new ones coming all the time that you can take part in and share your results and settings with one another. And we're also going to give you a healthy dose of our undying gratitude today. We believe that our customers are part of an extended small family, and we bend over backwards to make sure that they're taken care of and satisfied. So thank you for those of you who've stepped forward and supported us. We have people like Melissa who've been with us, gosh, close to 10 years. Earl, you're in that category as well. Yeah, we'll get you squared away. Yusuf, just send me an email and we'll make sure that you get taken care of. I'm off site, but I'll be back at the main office here in a couple days. But if you send me a screenshot, I'll be happy to take a look at what you're doing and give you some templates or workspaces to play with. Anyone else interested in the offer or have any questions about moving forward or getting started? No? Okay. I've used up all my time here today. Thank you for, Yusuf, go back and try those settings that I told you about here a moment ago too. I'll take a screenshot of it and make sure that you have it so you can take a look at that. Tell me if you get this link. No, you're welcome. Sweet. Try to put some pearls out there every day. You are chopped liver, Doug. I can't even believe you suggested such a thing. You are chopped liver in a lower Manhattan delicatessen. Doug, shoot me an email. We'll figure something out. I could probably squeeze you in for a little bit. Nah, you're good. Yeah, shoot me an email. I'm back next week. I think we can spend a half an hour together looking at some stuff. I can get you on the right path if you have a question. All right, knuckleheads. Listen, I love all of you, platonically, of course. I appreciate the time you've spent here with me today. Bravo to those of you who are sending me your results. Many of you are passing your combines with funded accounts like Apex Investing and UProfit, Earn to Trade, Top Step Trader. Keep sending me your success stories. I love to hear them. A lot of you have turned a corner and are doing really, really well after your purchase. And today I got a Skype from a customer, Rob Harris. Yeah, send it to me now, Doug. I've been on vacation today. Can everyone see here? Rob said he had 10 winners and 0 losers today. Very excited. And I'm getting results from you guys, and you're doing your back tests. Keep sending those to me. I'm very excited to get those. And Doug, just shoot me a note after this email. After this webinar, I'll get back to you, I promise. Thank you to all of you. Welcome on board to our new customers. Thank you to those of you who have signed up. We have some very exciting news in the works for you. Keep your eyes open, watch your email, and you're going to see some pretty crazy stuff here in the next few days. We never stop working to give you institutional grade trading tools and level the playing field. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine upon your face. May the mountains lay low before you, and may the valleys rise up to meet you. I wish you prosperity, joy, health, peace, most of all, peace to all of you. in 2022 as we come back into an even more tumultuous time in the world, politically, economically, socially. Strive to be a peaceful person above all things. Be mindful, be centered, enjoy every moment of the life that we have while we're here on this little blue marble. Good night, everybody. Welcome on board to the new customers, and I look forward to talking to you and getting you set up and getting you trained. Doug, send me that email. I'll get you a note right back, I promise. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.